Very good morning, ninth class. Today we will cover the second part of your DG for your geography, chapter 2 physical features of India. ठीक है, एक पार्ट हम ऑलरेडी डीजी का कवर कर चुके हैं, ठीक है, जिसमें हम हिमालयन माउंटेन्स और जो है प्लेट्यू के बारे में पढ़ चुके हैं। और आज के डीजी में जो हम डिफरेंट जो आपके दोनों घाट्स हैं, वेस्टर्न और ईस्टर्न घाट्स, उनके बारे में पढ़ेंगे। ठीक है, तो स्टार्ट करते हैं हम अपनी आज की डीजी।
Suman and his parents have come on a tour to the Nilgiri Hills. Suman, do you know that the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats converge in the Nilgiri Hills?
Dad, what are the Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats?
The Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats are two mountain ranges that run parallel to the two coasts of India. They meet each other in the Nilgiri Hills. Let me tell you about these in detail. The Western Ghats are a long range of hills that mark the western edge of the Deccan Plateau. They stretch from the mouth of the river Tapi to Kanyakumari. The Western Ghats lie close to the Arabian Sea. The slopes of the Western Ghats are steep and rugged. The peaks in this range are continuous and can be crossed only through passes. The average elevation of the peaks in the Western Ghats is 900 to 1,600 meters. The highest peaks in the Western Ghats are Anaimudi and Dodabetta. Some of the famous hill stations in this range are Mahabaleshwar, Panchdani, Uttakamund and Kodaikanal. The Western Ghats are one of the world's biodiversity hotspots, with over 5,000 species of flowering plants, 139 species of mammals, 508 species of birds, and 179 species of amphibians. The Eastern Ghats are small hill ranges that mark the eastern edge of the Deccan Plateau. They stretch from the Mahanadi Valley to the Nilgiri Hills. They lie some distance away from the Bay of Bengal. The slopes of the Eastern Ghats are gentle. The peaks in this range are not continuous. They are dissected by rivers that drain into the Bay of Bengal. The average elevation of peaks in this range is 600 meters. Mahendragiri is the highest peak in the Eastern Ghats. Yerkard is a famous hill station in this range. Let us now do a quick recap of what you have learned so far.
According to you, which is the hottest and driest place in India? Share your ideas with the class. After the discussion, click the Continue button. If your answers were Indian desert, Thar desert or Rajasthan, you were absolutely right. Let us proceed to learn more about the Indian desert. But before that, let us recall the meaning of a desert. A desert is a dry and sandy region that receives scanty rainfall. Let us now move on to learn about the Indian desert in detail. The Indian desert starts from the borders of Punjab and Haryana in the north and stretches till the Gujarat plains in the south. It is also called the Thar Desert. It occupies the entire state of Rajasthan. The Aravalli range lies near the eastern border of the Indian desert. Most people think that the Indian desert is confined only to India. However, the western extension of the desert is in Pakistan, where it is called the Sindh Desert. As we move from the northern plain towards the Indian desert, the climate gets drier. During summer, the dry land gets heated up fast, thus making the days hot. At night, the land loses the heat quickly, hence nights are much cooler. During winter, the days are pleasant due to less heat. Nights get extremely cold as the land loses its warmth quickly. The Indian desert receives scanty rainfall of less than 25 centimeters annually. The dryness of the Indian desert gives it various unique features, such as barchans and oases. Barchans are crescent-shaped sand dunes. During desert storms or sandstorms, these sand dunes shift from one place to another. An oasis is a place in a desert where underground water comes to the surface. Sometimes, when it is extremely hot, travelers who spot an oasis at a distance approach it, only to find no water in the place. Such imaginary water is called a desert mirage. Most villages are clustered around oases. The people in these villages are fun-loving and love to dress up. Their festivals such as Diwali, Tej, Gangaur, and the Sahara are very colorful. Many people in the desert live a nomadic life. These people are called the Banjaras. The Banjaras use camels to move from place to place. The camel is an important means of transportation in the desert, because of which it is called the ship of the desert. Its long legs and padded feet facilitate walking in the sand. It can walk for long distances without food and water. Due to water scarcity, there is hardly any plant life in the desert. Date palms grow near oases. Plants such as cactus and kikar, which require less water, grow in the desert. Such plants are usually thorny and have long roots that reach deep underground water. Water is scarce in the desert. The river Luni is the only significant river flowing in this desert. However, it does not carry much water. People store water in various ways, mostly in covered or underground places. To solve the water scarcity problem in this region, the Indian government built the Indira Gandhi Canal. Using water supplies from the Sutlej and its tributaries. Did you know that the Indira Gandhi Canal is the second longest irrigational canal in the world? This canal has solved many water shortage problems and has helped in bringing several areas of land under cultivation. Find out the correct answer for each question. Click the Show Answer button to verify your answer. Click the Next button to move on to the next question.
Hi, I'm Farooq, a fisherman. I live in this place where 3 seas and 2 coasts meet. Can you guess where I am? Discuss with the class and find out the place where Farooq lives. Also,
try to guess the names of the 3 seas and 2 coasts. Click the Continue button to check your answers. Farooq lives in Kanyakumari, where the Arabian Sea, the Indian Ocean and the Bay of Bengal meet. The western coastal plain and the eastern coastal plain also meet here. Let's learn more about these plains. The land which meets the sea is called a coast. The coast of India stretches all around the Indian peninsula. The coastal plains of India are divided into 2 major parts, the western coastal plain and the eastern coastal plain. The western coastal plain lies between the Arabian Sea and the Western Ghats. It begins in Gujarat, stretches through the western border of Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka and Kerala, and ends in Kanyakumari in the south. It is divided into 3 parts, the Konkan coast, the Kannad plain and the Malabar coast. The western coastal plain is wider in the north and narrower in the south. Coconuts, rice, cashew nuts, groundnuts, sugarcane and tobacco are grown here. The important ports in the western coast are Kandla, Mumbai, Marmagua, Mangalore and Kochi. The eastern coastal plain lies between the Bay of Bengal and the Eastern Ghats. It begins in West Bengal, passes through the eastern borders of Orissa, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, and ends in Kanyakumari. It is divided into 2 parts, the northern Sarkars and the Coromandel coast. The eastern coastal plain is wider than the western coastal plain. The entire plain is very fertile and is very good for growing rice. Therefore, it is also called the Rice Bowl of India. Sugarcane, coconut, cotton and jute are also grown here. The important ports in the eastern coast are Visakhapatnam, Paradip, Chennai and Tuticorin. The Marina Beach on the eastern coast, situated in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, is the second longest beach in the world, with a length of over 13 kilometers. The coastal plains are hot and humid during summer. However, winters are cooler. The northern part of the western coastal plain has an arid climate with desert-like features. The southern part of the western coastal plain receives heavy rainfall during the summer monsoon. The northern part of the eastern coastal plain receives moderate rainfall during the summer monsoon. The southern part of the eastern coastal plain is the only region in India that experiences the winter monsoon. Winter monsoons can cause heavy rainfall that results in waterlogging and flooding. The coastal plains are useful to us in various ways. Many ports are used for inland and foreign trade. Many seaside towns serve as popular holiday spots. Export of fish is an important industry here. Visakhapatnam has a big shipbuilding yard. In the given map, indicate the parts of the western coastal plain and the eastern coastal plain. Pick a color from the key and click the relevant area within the map as denoted by the key. After completing the activity, click the Show Answer button to check your answers. Aren't these places a lovely sight? Do you know where these places are? These places are situated in our islands, the Lakshadweep and Andamans. Come, let's learn more about these islands. An island is a piece of land surrounded by water on all sides. India has two groups of islands on either side of its peninsula. A group of islands is called an archipelago. The islands in the Arabian Sea are called the Lakshadweep Islands, while the islands in the Bay of Bengal are called the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Thousands of years ago, the shallow waters of the Arabian Sea were filled with microscopic sea creatures called coral polyps. When the corals died, their skeletons formed hard deposits that rose above the sea level. The action of the wind and waves broke down the coral into sand. As a result, the coral islands of Lakshadweep were formed. In the past, these islands were known as Lakshadweep, Minicoy, and Indi. In the year 1973, these islands were renamed as Lakshadweep. The Lakshadweep Islands are 36 in number, out of which only 10 are inhabited. These islands cover an area of about 32 square kilometers. Lakshadweep is the smallest union territory in India. Kavaratti is the capital of Lakshadweep. Minicoy is the southernmost island in Lakshadweep. Though these islands experience a tropical climate, the cool sea breeze keeps the islands pleasant. The people of Lakshadweep belong to the scheduled tribes. A major portion of these people pursue fishing as their occupation. The main crops grown here are coconut, rice, jackfruit, sugarcane, drumstick, banana, and wild almond. Unlike the Lakshadweep Islands, the Andaman and Nicobar Islands are of volcanic origin. These islands were formed on a submerged mountain range. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands are about 550 in number, out of which only about 36 are inhabited. These islands cover an area of about 8,000 square kilometers. The northern cluster of islands is called the Andaman Islands, while the southern cluster is called the Nicobar Islands. These clusters are separated by a wide channel called the 10-degree channel. Port Blair is the capital of this Union Territory. Indira Point, which is located in the Nicobar Islands, is the southernmost point of these islands and also of India as a whole. As these islands lie close to the equator, they experience an equatorial climate. However, the cool sea breeze keeps the islands pleasant. Most inhabitants of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands are tribal people who pursue hunting and fishing as their major occupations. The main crops grown here are rice, coconut, pulses, and sugarcane.